Hello everyone, welcome to the US Immigration News. In the weeks following Donald Trump's return to office, the US immigration system has seen constant policy shifts, with new updates emerging almost every week. After recent changes to green card eligibility and broader immigration regulations, a newly released State Department memo has introduced strict visa restrictions that will impact certain categories of applicants worldwide. The directive issued last week mandates stricter enforcement of visa eligibility criteria, instructing consular officers to deny visas to specific applicants under the new guidelines. Unlike previous restrictions that targeted travelers from particular countries, this policy applies globally, potentially disqualifying individuals based on revised vetting procedures. While enforcement details are still unfolding, immigration experts caution that this policy could result in more visa denials, extended processing times, and legal disputes. So in this video, we'll review the US visa ban memo and new eligibility rules, including other recent changes to US immigration policies. If you are interested in this topic and liking this video, please stay tuned until end of the video. If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now let's get into the video. Last week, the State Department has issued a new directive that could significantly impact visa applicants worldwide. A recently released memo outlines updated restrictions, particularly affecting individuals whose travel documents do not align with their gender at birth. This policy marks a notable departure from past practices, applying globally rather than targeting specific nationalities. The memo, signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, instructs consular officers to deny visas to applicants whose gender identity does not match their official documentation or electronic records. This directive is particularly focused on transgender athletes and other individuals who may face additional scrutiny under the updated guidelines. It further states that anyone found to be misrepresenting their purpose of travel or gender could be deemed permanently ineligible for a US visa. While officials argue that these measures are intended to maintain the integrity of visa applications and travel regulations, advocacy groups warn that the policy could lead to an increase in visa denials, legal disputes, and broader challenges for affected travelers. Many fear that these rules could complicate international travel for transgender individuals, making it more difficult for them to compete in sporting events, attend academic programs, or visit family in the US. The memo aligns with a broader series of immigration and travel restrictions introduced by the Trump administration, including recent executive orders focused on gender-based policies in sports. The administration has justified the visa changes by citing concerns over fairness in international athletic competitions and the enforcement of gender-based classification in travel documents. Immigration law experts note that while visa decisions have always involved some level of discretion, the explicit directive to scrutinize gender identity in visa applications is an unprecedented move in US immigration policy. Visa processing and immigration enforcement intensification. These new visa restrictions come at a time when the administration is already intensifying its immigration enforcement efforts. Consular officers have been given broader authority to deny visas based on perceived discrepancies in applicants' documentation, leading to concerns about inconsistent application of the policy. Beyond visa policies, the administration has ramped up deportation efforts and border enforcement measures. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE has significantly increased its removal operations, with a reported 7,300 deportations in the first week following the new immigration directives. This marks one of the most aggressive immigration enforcement campaigns in recent years. The government has also introduced stricter arrest quotas for immigration officers, with directives to meet daily detention targets. This move has raised concerns among immigrant rights organizations, who argue that it could lead to indiscriminate detentions and a higher risk of legal residents being mistakenly targeted. Implications for travelers and visa applicants. For individuals planning to travel to the US, these changes could mean longer visa processing times, increased scrutiny during consular interviews, and higher rejection rates. Those affected by the new gender-related policies may need to provide additional documentation to verify their eligibility, although it remains unclear how these cases will be adjudicated in practice. International students, workers, and other temporary visa holders could also face heightened challenges when renewing or adjusting their visa status. The executive order's broad language has raised questions about whether legal immigrants may be subjected to additional screening or procedural delays. In addition to these visa-related challenges, the administration has introduced measures impacting U.S. residents and citizens. The State Department has suspended the issuance of new passports with a non-binary X-gender marker, reversing a policy that had been in place under the Biden administration. This decision further reflects the administration's stance on gender identity policies in legal documentation. Broader impact on immigration policy and foreign relations. Beyond individual visa applicants, these changes have broader implications for U.S. foreign relations and diplomatic policies. Immigration restrictions often influence diplomatic ties, and some governments may push back against policies they view as discriminatory. Additionally, advocacy groups in the U.S. and abroad are mobilizing to address the potential impact of these restrictions on global mobility and human rights. These developments come as immigration policy remains a central issue in the 2024 election cycle. The outcome of upcoming political battles could determine whether these visa restrictions remain in place, expand further, or face reversals through legislative or executive actions. For now, affected travelers and visa applicants are advised to stay informed, consult legal experts if needed, and prepare for possible delays or additional documentation requirements. As the situation continues to evolve, staying updated on policy shifts will be critical for those impacted by these new regulations. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration News Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas, such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. Thank you for visiting us today, and we'll see you in the next video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to the channel for more U.S. immigration update videos.